Welcome to the Know Yourself channel. We're making astrology known and understandable as the number one priority. I'm the Scottish astrologer, and in this video I talk about the last time that Uranus, Neptune and Pluto all came into a conjunction together, the effects it brought on humanity, and what we can expect the next time this rare conjunction occurs. Okay, the last time this conjunction occurred was between the year 578 and 575 BCE, and this was a near exact conjunction at in between 8 to 10 degrees of Taurus. And although the people of that time were unaware of such a rare configuration in the heavens above them, as obviously they were yet to discover these outer planets, as they are not visible by the naked eye from Earth. And again, although unaware of it, this rare conjunction brought forth the beginning of a mega change and new start, shall we say, okay, and an entire new cycle for humanity. And now, funny enough, the 570s BCE represents the beginning of our history as we know it. Before this time, we could only rely on archaeological finds and mythology, and after this point we began to write and record our history, and new mythologies were also created. And now this sudden change affected humanity on a collective level through Neptune, and on an unconscious level through Pluto, and Uranus with his dynamic and brutal energies brought forth sudden and unforeseeable changes, new situations, revolutions and disruption to their ways and to the leaders and powerful men of that time. Pluto bringing about radical upheaval, shattering change and major crises also played its part in this massive change and new beginning for humanity. Now this was truly a time of transition of consciousness worldwide. It's like humanity began to really think about its situation, and new cultures began to emerge in the centuries after this point. Now, many of the world's most influential thinkers were alive around this time in history and the succeeding decades, and these people included Confucius, Zoroaster, Lao Tzu, also Buddha, also the Jewish Old Testament writers, usually referred to as Deutero Isaiah, and also the first Greek philosophers and reformers of this time, of that time were born even. Sorry. Now things were also going on in the Americas around and after this point, like the beginning of the pre-classical Peruvian and Mexican civilizations. Also, this is most likely the times when our Arthurian cycle as a religious magical path of the West, the ascendancy of the Celtic people, was created. Now humanity was starting to become more individualized, more objective, and was ripping itself away from its roots, shall we say, and the ancient civilizations and powerhouses of Egypt and Mesopotamia were beginning to decline and lose their power. Now humanity began to look afresh at technology, science, psychology, statescraft, rationality and society, and in fact this was the undercurrent start of our modern world. Now within 400 years after this rare conjunction took place, which is nothing in a moment in time really for how long it takes for from one of these configurations, triple conjunctions of these planets to the next, okay, 400 years is nothing. Now, within 400 years again, after this rare conjunction took place across the whole world, new civilizations of a newly materialistic bent had sprung up. Humanity began to get more large scale, more robustious, and more mass orientated. Now humanity began to become more materialistic compared to what they were before this conjunction, as this conjunction occurred in the earth sign of Taurus, which is a very materialistic sign. And if we take a look at our world today, It is clear it is a world built on materialism. Materialism is rife in our world right now, and it's funny that way back in history, the last time such a conjunction occurred, it did indeed occur in the sign of Taurus, causing our modern world to be built off the back of the energies of this sign, namely materialism, possessions and money, etc. And now, the next time such a rare conjunction of Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto will occur is in the year 3370. Now, I can't say what sign it will occur in, as I can't find astrological software that will take me past the year 3000. But if any of you people who are hearing this know of such software, then please check for yourself, let me know. So I can obviously say what sign it will occur in again, but it is clear next time there is a conjunction of Uranus, Neptune and Pluto in the year 3370. Things will begin to change drastically after this point once again, because if you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it basically, and you can work this out through astrological cycles by looking back in history, seeing what began to happen in correlation with certain astrological cycles, and then from that point you can basically work out what's going to happen again in the future. The only difference is we're going to be a bit further on with technology. Things will be slightly different names, different nations, but the same story basically. So now it will truly be an interesting time to be alive in and after the year 3370, okay? Now, most of the information that I have just shared with you comes from the historical Ephemeris by Paulding Jenkins. So a huge thanks to him for doing the research and putting in the work regarding this subject. I was just sitting on my balcony looking up at the stars one night, and then the thought came to me, when was the last time the slow-moving outer planets, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto, were all in a conjunction together? And obviously, when will they come back into another conjunction? So I then began to look into the subject for myself and discovered this historical ephemeris by Paulding Jenkins, which gives us great insight into this. It's worth a read, as it's a very informative piece of history and of astrological occurrences basically. And it's not just the triple conjunction that it talks about, it's also the Pluto-Neptune conjunctions. It correlates history to when these particular conjunctions were happening in certain aspects, and it shows you how these cycles of these outer planets indeed did correlate with our history. So please check that out. Okay folks, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and please hit the bell at the right hand side of the subscribe button. Again, until next time, take care.